Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Michelle.
an offender at the Chillicothe Correctional Center.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
To accept charges, press 1. To refuse charges, press thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I'm great. Can't complain. Won't complain. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real World Podcast. I have a special guest on the phone with us right now, and I want to thank her after she introduced who she is to you guys for even just giving me the opportunity to sit down and interview her. She's blessing us with this interview, so I want to thank her. Let the audience know who you are.
My name is Michelle Johnson, and I'm known to millions as a Precious Doe's mother.
Yes, ma'am. This, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right. Michelle is on the phone, and she is the mother of the Precious Doe. But we're going to talk about the Precious Doe case, but I don't want my audience and the new people who don't know who Michelle is, I don't want them to know her for the Precious Doe situation. I want them to know Michelle for who she is now. I want them to know Michelle, what put her in prison where she is, and how it led up to the situation dealing with the Precious Doe case. Okay, Michelle. So how long how long have you been locked up in penitentiary?
I've been locked up for 16 years.
16 years. Okay, and do you have life?
My sentence was 25 years. I have 15, 4, a 4, and a 2, running all consecutive.
Okay. All right, they're all running consecutive. So, what is it? The time frame we looking out for you to have a possible out day?
I go back to the board in 2023, and I'm praying, if God's will, that I get a date at that time.
Once again, you've been locked up for how long now? How many years?
16 and a half years.
16 and a half years. Now, Michelle, within that 16 and a half years, I want to ask you, have you just been laying around, just licking your wounds in prison, or have you just said, you know what, let me take what happened to me and help other women so they won't be in the situation that I'm in?
From day one, my goal is to help the other Michelles and Ericas out there that who's going through or been through what I've went through. I have achieved everything in prison that you can possibly achieve. I've done anger management, impact on crime on victim, which is also known as ICBC. Mm-hmm. I've did criminal thinking, domestic violence, drug class, grief and loss. I've achieved my GED. I also obtained a divorce from my co-defendant, HarrellAndMichelleJohnson, and I have no communications with him. I completed a women's empowerment program. I became and went to training to be an ICBC, so now I teach the class. And I use my experience in situations that I've been through so we can make no more victims in the world. I completed this class called Balance Living. I just completed Voltech in Culinary Arts, and I'm currently enrolled at Ashland University College, and I'm working towards my associate degree in business management. I'm also in process of writing a book that tells about my life story.
From a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I'm in process of writing a book that may tell my life story and help the other Ericas, Michelles out there who's going through that I went through. And I just want to be a testimony for others going through what I've been through life, and let them see what I once was and what I am now. And I maintain work at Missouri Vocational Enterprise, so I've been really busy. I stay busy.
That's great. That's a good thing. See, now with Voltech, I know in Voltech, we got a couple of those like Voltechs here in the state of Michigan, but not in prison for high school people that's going to high school and they're learning trades and certain things. Is that the same thing that's going on in
In
prison?
prison, Votech is it's like a trade, yes, because you got business and you got Cosmo and you got culinary arts, and because I have 7 more kids, and so that's one thing I love to do is cook. So and I like to cook from scratch. So that's what Votech is, like a trade.
Okay, that's great that you're not just sitting around in prison. You're there. You're doing something with yourself and making it so you can show these people that you are going to be more of an asset to the community than a liability. Because in prison, it seems that you're being an asset to the community and not a liability.
A saying that I say, or I feel in here a lot, is that I'm not where I want to be, but I thank God I'm not where I used to be either. You know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer of God, and I believe that, God got a purpose for everybody's life. And I'm just blessed to be here because by me being here, I learned how to love Michelle. I learned who I was. I learned that I don't have to be, my past don't have to dictate my future. So I made a mistake. I'm taking responsibility to that, and I just want to make sure that if I just touch one person, then it's a blessing. It's a blessing for me and my baby, my little girl.
Amen to that. Now, I want to, before we go any further into anything else, your daughter was known worldwide as Precious Doe. Would you share to the podcast audience what was her name?
Her name was Erica Michelle Marie Green.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Precious Doe, her name is Erica. So, we're not going to touch the case right now or anything that lands you there. Let's talk, Michelle, about where are you from? Where you originally from that brought you to Missouri? Where are you from?
I'm originally born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. And I left Chicago, sad to say, a man. I followed a man.
Was the man at the time to follow him, he had to be a good guy. What happened to lead you to the other guy?
Well, I had the first man I said I was in love with, and I thought he loved me. I was 13 years old, living in Chicago, Illinois, and I always felt like the black sheep of the family, 6 of us, and I was being molested at a young age, and I'm also biracial. So I had both sides of the family. It was a lot of prejudice on both sides. One because I was white, and one because I was black. So I had uncles calling me zebra, Oreo, and then I had the white side, calling me nigger, so I always wanted to be accepted. I always wanted to be loved, attention, and so I wasn't getting that. So an uncle, a family member, was molesting me, and then a friend of the white side was molesting me, and it started as 5 years old to like 16 years old. And so by me being molested, it made me very flirtatious. I guess that's all I knew how to do. And so I got with my baby daddy at 13, and he was very abusive to me. And I had 5 kids by him. Erica was his child, and he was very abusive.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
The DFS took my 3 older kids, and I was told to leave him and I could give them back. But I chose him, and I gave my kids to my mother and father, and I left and went to Oklahoma. And that's where I met Harrell, the other man. But when I was in Oklahoma, I went to Oklahoma when I was 18 years old. And Harrell, my baby daddy, my first kid, had me prostituting, or I'll get beat, stealing. He was on crack cocaine. So I started doing crack when I was 16. And I was prostituting when I started when I was 16, and he prostituted me to Harrell. And that's how I first met him in Oklahoma. And I left him on 11 years of being abused, and I got with Harrell. And during the time that I was with him, he was abusive too. But I always say because I thought that I could change him and make him love me more, or I could be what he wanted me to be, and he would love me more. And at this time, I'm going back and forth in my children's life. I'll go visit them, or I have more kids and give it to my mother, take them back to Chicago and leave them with my mom, and go back to Oklahoma. And yes, and I have.
You have 1 minute left.
No, you can go ahead and finish. I wasn't interrupting. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, because I heard this operator say I got 1 minute left. But I will call back, audience. I'm really excited about getting this out. I just want to help anybody that's going through what I'm going through. I mean, what the media has put me as, that's not who I am. I can admit that I just loved the wrong people, and I didn't know what love was. I can admit to that. And I just feel like there's so many women out there who go through that, who don't feel love or feel worthy, and tend to stay just because they feel like that's the only way they can get love. And then I'm here to tell you that's not true. If a man is beating you or touching your child, get out. Get out. It's places you can
Thank
go.
you for using Securus. Goodbye.
How do you feel about this? Just tell me a little bit about Erica's father, because what I really want to know with Erica's father, he after he got out of prison and said he got out of jail, he sued the state of Missouri, and he got a nice lump sum of money that they did not disclose the amount of how much money it was. How do you feel about him really just getting that money?
When I first heard about Erica's father getting the money, I was
This call is
hurt.
from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I was hurt. I was angry because Larry has never acknowledged Erica as his child. From day one, since I was pregnant with her, he claimed that she wasn't his child. He never bought a diaper. He never changed a diaper. He never did any of them things. The dude I was going with named Jay, he's the one who took care of Erica. He's the one that Erica thought was her father. He's the one that did everything for her. So when this hit fans, then here he come in as, oh, this is my baby. I have 4 other kids by him. He's never did anything for any of my kids. I got 3 girls. I have 4 girls and 1 boy. By him, and he doesn't take care of none of them. When he got the money, he gave my oldest child $3,000, and didn't give nothing to the other children. And it's just it's sad because I feel like the things that he put me through in life, prostituting me, beating me, I mean, just a lot of things. My kids got taken because he wanted me to go. I mean, I went to prison in Oklahoma because he wanted me to go steal, and I didn't want to go for his drug habit. And he used to beat me just senseless, crazy, hammers, everything. And I was just very angry that he was so quick to be called the father. And then they gave him all their money when in reality he ain't never claimed her at all from day one till this incident happened.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Do you know exactly how much money that he received from the state of Missouri?
No, I don't know how much. I know that he sued Oklahoma too. You know, I know there was 2 lump sums. I don't know. He's never told me. I talked to him one time, and he sent me $300 And that's when I asked him where did he get this money at that he had put on my books, and that's when I was he didn't even tell me. He lied to me. I learned about it on the news.
Wow. Now, let's talk about Erica's grandparents, okay? Now, the grandfather is the one. Now, I saw a picture of Erica, and I saw the little clay thing that they had of her and the sketch drawing of her. And that picture did not look anything like Erica. To me, it didn't. And for him the grandfather say that he saw the little drawing and said that, hey, that looked like that could be my granddaughter.
You have 1 minute left.
Oh.
And he just came forward to say, hey, check this. This could possibly be my granddaughter.
No, Erica was not his granddaughter.
Right.
Harrell was his grandson, which we weren't married at that time. So I told his grandfather, and I told Harrell's mother. As soon as I came back to Kansas City and I didn't have Erica with me, I told them that they son and grandson killed my daughter. The mother stood in my face and said she's going to take it to the grave. She's never going to tell anybody. The grandfather said the same thing. So they say, why I didn't tell nobody. I did tell somebody. I did tell them. I'm scared. I'm scared of him. So I'm like, well, maybe if I tell these people, they will help my daughter.
Tell us about how the grandparents and the parents found out about Erica.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with the mother. I'm going to start with the mother, with Harrell's mother. When I got back from Kansas City, when we came back to Kansas City after being on the run from him shooting somebody in the face, and that's what he went on the run for, she asked me where Erica was at, and we
This call
told
is from a
her
correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
we told her that she was with my family, and every time that the call newspaper, every time her father Thurman got the call newspaper, I would look at the Precious Doe article. I would look at it. So it came on America Most Wanted when they were showing the clay and the things, and I just started crying. And she looked at me, and she looked at the TV, and she was like, Michelle, that's Erica, ain't it? And I looked at her, and I said, yes, your son killed my daughter. And while I was saying that, he came out the back room, and he looked at me like, and the way he looked, it was coming at me, that she instantly said, I promise, son, I will take this to the grave. I will never tell nobody. Don't worry about it. This is our secret. And from there, nothing happened. The grandfather, if I'm going to be real, I'm going to have to be honest, and I'm going to have to just throw myself out there because I'm doing this to help other people. The only reason the grandfather told was because I was removing myself from the situation, and I was finna leave Harrell and his family, and so I was having intercourse with the grandfather. I was having intercourse with the uncle. I was having intercourse with Harrell. I felt like the family owed me. I had a lot of hate, just a lot of hate and anger towards them, and because I even told the grandfather, and I told him that his grandson killed my daughter, and he didn't do nothing. But every year he called, and he would ask the detectives how much was the reward money, and they would tell him how much it was, and he'll say he know who my daughter was, and they thought he was lying, so they never went any further into it. But when it got to be the amount that he thought was acceptable to him, which was the 33, then he sent my hair in.
When you say 33, what, 33,000?
33,000. It was 15,000, and then the FBI maxed it, and then it came to 33,000.
Okay, now did he ever collect that money?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Alonzo Washington, took it to Muskogee, Oklahoma, shook his hand, told him that this case would have never, praised him, praised his family, said this case would have never been solved if it wasn't for him.
Now,
Gave him the money, shook his hand, took his picture. Absolutely. So he got paid. His family got paid for him killing my daughter.
now let me ask you this: the family. How long did the family know about Erica being dead before they went?
2001.
Now, 2001, and they allowed this man to collect that reward money. Is what
Yes.
you're saying?
He called every year. When they say, well, where is she? I left and I went to Chicago, Aurora, Illinois. He told them Aurora, Colorado, but he knew I wasn't in Aurora because he was wiring me money. As long as I was with his family, it was okay if I was with his grandson and his son and him. As long as I was in the family, it was cool. But once I decided to leave the family, that's when that's when he told her. That's when he called and told her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Michelle, I want to ask you about that night. That I know this is not, it's horrible for you. What happened that fateful night that Erica lost her life? Take your time.
Well,
Take your time. Don't take your time.
Okay, the night before, I did PCP, and
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
it made my soul jump out of my body. So Harrell didn't do it that night because I don't have friends due to the relationships I've been in. They never allow me to have women or friends or anything. So when I hang around a lot of dudes, they would get mad, and so I was out there on the porch with his cousins and stuff, and I was smoking, and he got mad. So he didn't do none that night, but I did. But while I did it, my soul came out of my body, and so I didn't do it, So then I'm like, I'm through with this. This ain't for me. So the next day, I had went to work, and I had came back. And when I came in the room, Erica was standing up, and I asked her why was she standing up, and she was like, and she kind of looked at him, and I was like, go lay down, and go lay on the bed, baby. And so she went and laid in the bed, and I went in the bathtub. I went and got in the bath, and when I got out the bathtub, she was standing up again, and I said, why are you why is she standing up? I'm like, why you standing up, E? And he said, because I told her to get up. And I was like, hey, you can't talk to that one like that, but you can talk to Markeisha because that was our baby together. Erica was not his child. So I'm like, hey, you can't talk to her like that. And Erica was standing a few feet, so I was motioning on my body, and I was telling her to go lay down. And split second, something just told me to turn around. And when I turned around, that's when I seen Harrell kick Erica on the side of the head, and she fell like a snake. And I picked her up, and I ran to the bathroom, and I put cold water because I thought that cold water would wake her up. But it didn't. So I took her back in the room, and I laid her on the floor, and me and him started arguing, and she was unresponsive. She was hard. At one point in time, her eyes had rolled back in her head, and I was like, we need to get her help. And he was like, no, we're not going to get her help. We're going to wait. And so I would just sit down there, and I would talk to her, and I would sing her favorite song, And then, so the last time I got up and I told him that if she didn't get up by 12, that I was going to take her to the hospital. And so I got up and got in the bed and I turned to the wall. And he got down there on the floor, and he wasn't even down there like 3 minutes. And I heard her take her last breath. And then he got up and he called my name, and I said, I just started crying real hard, and I said, I already know. And then that's when he started saying that we had to get rid of the body, and that we would have to wait at nighttime. His family members was in the living room. So when nighttime came, I was very distant. I didn't talk or not say nothing. And when nighttime came, he took her out the window. And we walked down to down the hill by the park. And I told him that I couldn't watch this. I couldn't stay. So I left. And I went back in the room and I climbed through the window. And when he came in, is when he told me that he cut her head off. And I asked him what did he do in that. He put her body in the woods. And I asked him what he did with the head. And he said that he threw it in the church trash container. I sat there for a minute and I said, no, we have to go get it because they doing trash at the church.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
They're doing trash at the church and they'll find it. And he didn't know that I was lying, but I knew that if we didn't go get it, that they wouldn't know who she was because of course, trash go in the sewer or whatever. And so we went back. We left out and we went back and he retrieved it. And he threw it. He threw it in the woods. And that was and then on the 28th is when they found her body, and they looked in the woods, and they didn't find her.
You have 1 minute left.
They did find her head, and it was a guy that used to be in the Army that my baby came to, and told her where to find her at, and he found her. He found her.
So the gentleman from the Army that Erica came to in his dream, or came to him, he led the police directly to the head of her body?
He called Channel 4 News, and Channel 4 News met him there, and he crawled like you do in the Army, and he went straight to her head, and then they called the detectives, right, and he took them right to it.
So with that being said, did they arrest him and try to charge him with her murder at that time, or no?
Yeah, yes, they took him in for questioning, because when I was in the county jail, he came and visited me. He told me that everybody's not against me and to do the right thing about my daughter, and I told him I was, and he said that he could tell that I was a lost person, and that
Take your time.
That my daughter knows that I love her, and it's so easy to I have so many people ask me, why you didn't get help? Why did you not do nothing for 4 years? Why did you stay? Why? I tried so many times for clues. I was so angry at the police department because I am terrified of my life. I'm with a crazy mother. God forgive me, a motherfucker.
who just shot this dude face off for drugs, and he just did it to my child. And I'm calling out for help. I'm trying to tell people, like his his family, and I'm not getting help. And then I'm leaving evidence for the police, and they're not, either don't care or they're not catching on. And then when they do, and I tell them the truth, like I'm telling you, the audience, I get charged with tampering with evidence. I get charged with removal of a corpse. I get charged with trying for Kansas City to know who my daughter is. Every day I'm out there sitting at where it happened from sun out to sundown, waiting for these police to come and find out who is this woman sitting out here with another baby, but never find out who I am, never question me, never made me feel safe to tell what happened to my daughter. And I promised her before she took her last breath that I was going to make sure everybody know who she is. And that's what I did.
Now, the individuals in the home, when did they find out that Erica was deceased?
His family, and his family, like they asked him where, like the next day, because we stayed in the back room. I mean, it was a big house, but he kept us in the back room. And I mean, I just, like I said, I don't have friends. I'm not even from Kansas City. I don't have no family here. I'm from Chicago. I left Chicago with a man.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I left Chicago with a man at 18, Erica's daddy, and moved to Oklahoma, and on my own, no family, nothing. And I had Erica, and I had my son Larry, and then I met Harrell through a trick with Larry. Then met him again in '99. So all my life, that's all I've known is abusive man. It took me coming to prison to even find out what love is or how to love me, you know. And so many people ask me, but if you don't know what love is and you don't know how to love yourself, you can't protect anybody else. You can't do the right thing because you don't even love you. You don't even know what the right thing is. And that's what I have to live with every day. And that's what I live with every day. I believe in God. I ask God to forgive me. But it's hard. It's hard for me to forgive myself. She was my child. And it's a mother's instinct to protect her child. And I let her down. And that's something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. And that's why I'm telling this story and getting it out, because if it's one person, one woman that's going through, been through, get out, because your life will change if you lose a child and over a man. It'll never be the same. It'll never be the same. And I have to carry this guilt for the rest of my life of not protecting my baby.
Now, did Harrell ever say why he did what he did to Erica?
No. When I was in court, the last thing I heard him say was he didn't hurt a hair on her head. And the judge called him a psychopath. And because of what he said and knowing what he did. And that's when I knew that he was sick. And when I got to prison, I divorced him. I knew that for him to say that he possibly couldn't care about my child or anything.
Not at all. He couldn't have.
No, he never. I asked him, when I was in Jackson County, I told my lawyer that I couldn't see the pictures of her head being decapitated. I've never seen that. When I last seen her, she was right. She was the way she came in this world. But I was told he had the pictures all on his wall, and yeah. So I don't have no communications with him. I don't talk to him. I mean, I talk to our kids. I have 3 kids by him, but I don't speak to him.
So you wait a minute, you telling me that he had the pictures of Erica's decapitated body on his wall in prison?
Yes, and up in the county jail. And guards used to come and tell me, you know, he got them pictures, and yeah, on the 7th floor.
You have 1 minute left.
And yeah, it was just it was sickening. It was sick. And once the police detectives came to Muskogee, and I knew I was safe, the first thing I said to them was, "What took you so long? You finally here. Out of 4 years, you finally here. I don't need a DA. I don't need none of that. That's my paper."
This man took you through a whole lot, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But you know, you're a strong woman, and I want to thank you for even sharing your truth with us, because we got so much more we got to talk about. And right now, I want to say I thank you, and I thank your fiance, because your fiance has been supportive of you and supportive of this whole movement that we're trying to put together. Your fiance has been supportive of you and has been supportive of this whole thing of you coming out telling your truth about what happened. And like I said, I spoke with your fiance on the phone with you, and your fiance is a beautiful person, and I know that your fiance has your back, and I know that your fiance is 100% with you and on everything that you're doing there with helping other women, how you're teaching other women not to make the mistakes that you made, and just, you know, counseling other women and just going to these programs to better yourself with the anger management and the Voltec and everything else, you know. And I want to salute you as well, because you're not just sitting there beating yourself up, and you didn't kill yourself behind this, you know. So, you know, you are a strong woman just to still be here, and I salute you for that. I really do.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome.
If your audience, if they want to reach out to me, you know, just going through something and just need support, they can go to jpeg.com and download me and add me to their JPEG list, and we can communicate that way.
Tell them your name and your number so they can go straight into it the way I did.
Okay, if you want to, I take donations. My fiance is only the really one I'm getting support from once a month. It's hard on her because she got 2 kids of herself and just bought a house and just got out of prison herself in April, so it's hard. So if you want to donate or have any questions, you can go to jpeg.com, or you could call 1-800-574-2729, JPEG, and it's Michelle Johnson, and it's 116-9768. And I just thank you for allowing me to be on your
podcast.
Podcast. And my book is coming out, what goes in more detail from and it's called Thou Shalt Not Judge. And to the women and the people out there that are so quick to judge another person, I have one thing to say. We all are sinners, and not one sin is better than the other. And first, before you start judging, put yourself, or try to put yourself in their shoes, or first find out what size shoes they wear. Because sometimes drugs and men, half of these women in this penitentiary right now over drugs and a man, and not knowing how to love themselves. And I'm just want y'all to know that. Don't judge. Get to know a person. Get to know their story. And then, as God says, love one another. Thank you.
Amen to that. Hey, you said a mouthful. And once that book is completed and done, I would love to order a few copies because I would want you to sign them because I would want to give them away to some of the women who listens to my show and watch me, and that would be a gift from me to them. And I also would want the information where your book can be purchased at, so your book can get bought as well. Now,
Well,
go ahead.
I'm just looking for a publisher. So if anybody know anybody that's honest and godly and willing to help me with that part, jpay.com and let me know.
That sure will. So please, audience, if you know someone or if you just want to reach out and you want to talk to Michelle on your own, and she reaches back out and she answers all emails. Please, we don't want no haters and no judgmental people writing this lady and badgering her and talking nonsense because she's been through enough already. Let's try to just uplift and support this woman here. And I understand right now you still up under the Johnson name, and I know once you get out of there, you're gonna drop Johnson. Tell the
Oh,
audience what's your last name that you would like them to call you other than Johnson. But right now they have to use Johnson because you're in prison. But what can they address you as?
as of November the 11th, 2011, I became divorced, and my name is Michelle Marie Pierce.
Pierce.
My legal name is Pierce, Pierce, but since I came under
This
Johnson,
call
that
is
would
from
be
a
my.
correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Since I came under Johnson, that is my confinement name, and that's the name that you will have to use to look me up. But my legal name is Pierce. And I have 5 more kids, and I have 8 grandbabies, and I communicate with my children. I, this case do not define who I am. I've become a better person. I love me. I'm a better mother. I don't need a person to define me or love me. I love Michelle today, and that what makes me get up every day and want to tell my story, and so people can know. Like I said, I'm not where I want to be, but I thank God I'm not where I used to be.
Amen. You took that right out of that question away from me because I was about to ask you that. How is everything going with your kids? But now, and did you have a relationship with them? But you answered that question already. Now, let me ask you this. The children that you have with Harrell, do your children communicate with him, write him, or
Yes.
they do?
Yes, yes. My son, he's a nurse. He works in the emergency room. He takes care of his brother. He's trying to, my son took it the hardest because he's the boy, and who his father is. He changed his name. He was a junior, but he changed it because he refused to be named after him. So he changed his name, and he has them, and he's raising them, and he has 2 twin boys himself. And I talked to my girls, and I let them know that what he did do not define who they are. By his mistakes, they're still their sisters and brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and they have no hatred or anything. My one child even tried to reach out to Harrell because she's godly, and she feel like we have to forgive, and I let each of my kids decide what they choose to do. I just myself I have no words for him because he hasn't taken responsibility. He hasn't. He doesn't tell the truth. It's all about money for him or how he can come up off a gambling debt, and until then he won't have peace. And that's why I have peace because I've accept my responsibility of the part that I played, and that part is not protecting my daughter by any means necessary.
Amen to that. Let's talk about the police. Some misconduct Did the police charge? I read somewhere that the police charged you for a crime or something that had reached this the statute of limitation.
Yes. Well, they gave me some Class D felonies. I'm charged with second degree murder. They gave me 15 years for that, 85%. I completed that on 5/6/2020.
Mm-hmm.
Then they gave me tampering with physical evidence, and they got me of a removal of a corpse and child endangerment. I I take full responsibility of second felony because I did not get my baby help, and I knew. I take responsibility for that. I even take responsibility for child endangerment for not protecting her like a mother do. But as far as tampering with evidence and removal of a corpse, I don't feel like that's fair because if I didn't do it, how would you know? You know, I'm really upset with the police because everybody, Precious Doe Committee, Larry, the police department, everybody's made money off my child, but everybody was sloppy trying to find out who she was. You know, it took a army. It took my baby in a dream going to an army man to find what the cops looked over. Couldn't even find with dogs and everything. They couldn't even find it. And then they found that on April 28th, and the man found that on May 1st.
What was like for him to do that to this baby? This is why I'm surprised. You know, he's not dead in prison.
Yes, and I'm just like, it's sick. But I mean, because when I close my eyes and I see my baby, I see her. You know, I begged when I hold her, I begged God to take me. I begged him just to wake her up, and he could take me. I would take her place, and he didn't. He didn't. And I have to believe that I'm here for somebody, or that my story is to help somebody. I just have to believe that my daughter didn't die in vain. She didn't, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make money. I'm not trying to get rich. I just want to help any Michelle and Erica out there that a man is manipulating you, is addictive. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to wear. You don't know what to say. You can't have friends. You isolated. Get out, especially when there's kids involved. Get out. Put them first because at the end of the day, men's come and go. All we have is our children.
Most definitely. And it's just, you know, Harrell, you know, like you say, you're a woman of God now, so you have to forgive him to move on. And
but I would never forget.
You would never forget. We would have to forgive him, but you never forget because God tells us to forgive.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't hold hatred in your heart towards him.
Yes.
You know, with your newfound religion and all. Hey, it's you know, I'm just breaking it down and I'm being real, dude. Me, I don't like the man. I'm gonna tell you why I dislike the dude, right? I can't even call him a man. I'm gonna call him a dude. I dislike this dude because I reached out to him to interview him first because I'm like, well, he's the main guy. He did this. So I want to hear his side of the story. So when he called me, right?
You have 1 minute left.
It was all about, well, you know, my family ain't looking out for me. Could you put something on my books for me and whoop, whoop, this and that? And
you'll never get the truth.
Right.
You'll never get the truth.
And how I ended up with you is because I'm interviewing Terry Blair. Terry Blair was like, stay away from that dude. He's a liar and he's trouble. Talk directly to Michelle because Michelle came clean and told me what happened. She admitted what happened, confessed it to me when we were in gym together. He said y'all was talking through a vent. And you know, so I gotta shout him out because he's an innocent man. That just the evidence against him, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up at all. And
that's Kansas City. And exactly what I'm saying. They don't care who they get. They don't care who takes the crime.
At the time of your arrest, Thurman Mcintosh was 81 years old. Is he still alive today, or is he passed on?
No, he's passed on.
Okay, how long has it been since he's passed away?
Oh, I seen it in a newspaper paper article, so I don't remember, but I know they put it in the newspaper article, so I will have to say about 3 or 4 years, 5 years. I don't know.
Okay, because it's one thing I wanted to know. Why wasn't him or Harrell's mother ever charged with accessory after the fact? Because you did let them know what went on, and neither one of them did go to the authorities. It
even says in my interview, everything that I told both of them. He even said that I told him that his grandson did it. And the paper, it even says that he stated that the reason why he told is because he didn't want to die without nobody knowing. And I've been asking myself that same question you're asking me. Why did they get charged? Why did they give them the reward money? Why did they make it seem like they was just this hero when he called for 4 years asking what the reward money was? And I don't understand why. Why did Alonzo Washington take it to Muskogee, Oklahoma, and give it to him and shook his hand and made it seem like he was this big old hero? Now, I would have been cool with it if he would have did it in 2001 when it happened. But you don't do that. You wait all the way to 2005. Then you bailed me out of jail in Muskogee and bailing me out. But the night that I tell you that I'm leaving your family and I'm not messing with y'all no more, do you leave that morning and reach out to Alonzo Washington and tell?
Okay.
And tell him.
Okay. Now, who was Alonzo Washington? So the audience will know.
Alonzo Washington was this avid advocate or something for Kansas City. It was a lot of them. They made out this Precious Doe committee where it's I guess it's these mothers and things, you know, and I mean, do I get angry? Absolutely, because that is what I was going to do regardless, is let people know her name. And
this call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I get offended when people call her Precious Doe, because Precious Doe is somebody that's not known. She's known. She has a name. Her name is Erica Michelle Marie Green. And I just feel like because Thurman called him and then he got a hold of the police, that they feel like Alonzo Washington and Thurman at that time were heroes. Like, oh, they just cracked the biggest case. But when it's asked, why didn't the officers check when he called every year? Why didn't they look into the matter? It was because they thought that he was a drug addict.
Okay. Now,
so they didn't look into no evidence. They didn't look at or follow leads.
Okay. Now, did Mr. Thurman Mcintosh, did he use drugs at all?
No, he didn't. But his Harrell's mother did. She was a crackhead. He was an enabler.
Okay. Now, this is another question.
But no, he didn't. Mm-hmm. He didn't use drugs. He could have got on the phone anytime and turned us in.
Okay, now this is another question I want to ask you. Okay, now did Thurman Mcintosh, the grandfather of Harrell Johnson, did he overhear the conversation of you telling someone about what happened to Erica, or did you confess this personally to him?
I told him. The first person who knew what happened to my daughter was Deborah Johnson, Deborah Williams, his mother.
Okay.
Then the second person that I told was the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, your grandson killed my daughter.
Okay.
So those two are the people that knew. Did nobody else know? I didn't tell nobody else, because after you tell two people, and you're around these people, and you feel like, okay, the right thing. I mean, I'm scared. I have a reason to be scared and frightened and for my life. But you had two people that I felt like should have helped me and had got the help, because I'm asking for help in so many ways, but only to be not told anything.
Now, Thurman, I saw in an interview that Thurman said that you had let him read letters that Harrell wrote you while he was locked up, and in those letters, Harrell was telling you he was so sorry about something that he had did. Do you remember what letters Thurman was referring to?
Harrell never wrote any letter saying he was sorry for anything. He used to torture me with them letters. Them letters weren't apologizing for nothing. Those letters were telling me, bitch, if you don't get back to my family house, I'm gonna tell the people. He was never, and Thurman didn't see the letters. The detectives found the letters when they searched the house. He never seen no letters. The detectives, when they searched the house, found the letters, because I keep everything. I'm a hoarder. Any paper I keep, and I kept them letters. And in the letters, it said how he was being vindictive, like in the Kansas City Star, when he wrote me in jail and tried to tell me to change my story and say somebody named Mike had did it, and told me what to say and how to coach me and what to say. And I gave the letter to my attorney, my public defender, who in turn gave it to the prosecutor, who in turn Kansas City Star wrote an article about it.
Now, I also saw in that same interview where Thurman had stated when Harrell got out of jail and he picked him up and he was in the backseat of his car, he instantly claimed that he started snapping and going in on Harrell, and Harrell got out of the car and walked over to you and said, "Why did you tell Grandpa?" Is that true?
You said that we were arguing, fighting?
No. In the interview, Thurman, he had said that he had picked, I guess he went to go to the jail. Harrell was getting out of jail, and he had picked him up, and he was in his car. They was coming to, y'all was going somewhere, and he started going in on him, just bashing him about what he did and what you had told him. And he said, Harrell...
Yes, that is true.
Okay, that's true?
That is true.
Okay.
That's true. That is exactly true. And that's how you know that, because Harrell got out of prison, not jail. He went to prison. See, Harrell made me marry him, okay? Because when he was on the run, not me, I was never on the run, okay? Harrell was on the run, okay? So Harrell was on the run for shooting this dude in the face. He tried to rob him, okay? So back in Oklahoma, if you marry an individual on the day they get sentenced, it makes their sentence get lesser.
Right.
Okay? So me and Harrell has never truly lived together as a married couple. You see what I'm saying?
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Once we got married, he went to prison. And he did 5 years in prison. And I went to my family. See, I left and went to Chicago because he didn't want me around my family, because I had the tendency of telling, like I did his family. So my every move, if I wanted to go to the bathroom, he had to go with me. You know, my family even said that I couldn't go nowhere without my family, without him being there.
Okay. That was him trying to basically...
Make sure I didn't tell nobody else.
Yeah, to keep you close, to make sure that his secret was safe. Now,
yes.
Now let me ask you. Now, early on, you did mention that you had an affair with Thurman Mcintosh.
Yes.
And was that Harrell's brother or his uncle?
His uncle.
Okay. Now, how did these affairs start with the grandfather and the uncle?
Well, when Harrell was in prison and he was threatening me, because once he got in prison, I felt somewhat free. Not all the way somewhat, because I knew he didn't have life, so I knew he was going to get out. Okay. So while Harrell was in prison, the grandfather started hitting on me and telling me,
You have 1 minute left.
The grandfather kept hitting on me, flirting with me, and I'm not going to lie. Like I said before, I started to hate Harrell. I started, due to what he did and me not being able to let people know who my baby was, I started to hate him. So I started to do vindictive things to him. And I knew sleeping with his uncle and his grandfather was vindictive and that it will hurt him.
Okay. Now, how did he find out about this, or did he find out about it before?
Yeah, how he found out was because he went and asked his grandfather for some money, and the grandfather wouldn't give it to him. But then when I went and asked, he gave it to me. And he said, what's going on with you and my grandfather? And the same thing with his uncle. They wouldn't give him anything. When I would go back to the car and give him the money, he'll say like, are you fucking my grandpa, my uncle? Because it's not right that when I go ask, they'll say no. But when you go ask, they'll give it to you without no problem. Common sense, I know he knew, but I've never came out and said, that I'm fucking them, you know what I'm saying? But common sense, he knew.
Mm-hmm.
The uncle I would do at my apartment, and I didn't have no respect for. I just had a lot of anger. Keep it real. I even had a lot of hate because I have a reason to be scared of him, and I told you guys, and then you didn't help me, and so I felt like they was dead to me. So the mom, I'll say your brother coming over. If you want to listen, you can stay. You can leave. If you don't want to, hear it, then you can go in that room and close the door because I'm finna do it. If she would go in another room and close the door, why she knew that I was doing it to her brother. So why she smoked the drugs. So she knew.
So wait a minute, his mother knew.
Yes, she knew. Yeah.
So the mother would be in the other room smoking her drugs. Smoking crack.
Hiding in the closet.
Why
then she'll come out when her brother leave because I got money. I never did anything with them for free. It was always y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all owe me. I even told Harrell when I'm mad, because I when Harrell was in prison, I just got I became a different person. I had so much hate. I had so much resentment that I guess I was at the point that I'm ready. I'm ready for this to come out. I can't hold this no more. I can't take this. Is mentally and physically weighing on me. And so I just started doing shit when he said that I was leaving him for somebody else, that is correct. That's why they told on me. That's why his grandfather called and told on me because the night before, me and Harrell got into a big old fight. And I'm like, I'm done. And he threatened to call, and I was like, do what you do. I don't care no more. That leads to the morning of when how the Kansas City detective, it was Muskogee detective, but it's how they came to the door. You know what I'm saying? And first the phone rang because I had 3 kids, and I had got their stuff because I was sneaking out. He was on the floor, his mama was asleep, and I didn't even think to look for Thurman. And so the phone rang, and I ran and answer the phone, and they hung up. And looked at the caller ID, it was nothing. So I got the kids again, and because my friend that I was leaving him for was meeting me. So the phone rang again, and I answered, and they hung up again, okay? So I went back to the door to grab the knob to go, and then he rung a third time. So when I looked at the call ID, I went and woke his mama up and said, Debbie, answer the phone, because every time I answer, these people hang up on me. Okay, so when she seen my luggage and everything, she knew then that I was finna go. He still asleep. So when she get on the phone, she was like, yes, 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 okay.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her, who was that? And she told me that her husband was kind of slow. So she said that that was her husband. This is Monday. That her husband was calling to say when where he can cash his check. So I said, Debbie, you a lie because Andrew wouldn't call you. He would wait till he had got home. So by the time we argued, that somebody knocks on the door.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go, I'm trying to hurry to get to the door before he wakes up. So when I get to the door, I said, who is it? and they said maintenance. And I said, well, the person who live here is not here. That's when I realized that Thurman was not there. And this is like 7 o'clock in the morning. And so I noticed that Thurman was not there. So I said, I can't let you in because the owner's not here. So when I turned around to pick up, I had one in the carriage, one on my hip, and one in my hand. I had 3. And when I was walking towards the door again, they hit on the door, and they was like Meals on Wheels. So I'm looking at the door, but I can't see nothing. So I'm like, and Harrell used to sell drugs, crack. And so I'm like, hey, nothing, everything is good here. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing. Go. And so they didn't even, move their hand. They hit it, and I was like, who is it? And they was like, police. And I'm like, what? And they was like, yeah, we're looking for Michelle Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
So when they said that, Harrell jumps up. Now, any other time, if the police or, the warrant, because he got a warrant. So any other time, if the police was after him, he would go through the balcony, jump off the balcony, take off, run in, get away. So he gets up and he looks and noticed that my luggage and things like, oh, bitch, you was finna go? So then they was like, police. So then he runs to the balcony, out the door and runs to the balcony. So when the police come, and this is the crazy part, it was not police, it was detectives. So when they came in, they said, they said, who's Michelle Pierce? I said, that's me, but they kept walking past me. And there was a room here and a room there in Thurman's room. And they didn't go to no room. They went straight. It was no officers in the back. So they went straight to the balcony and told him to come in, handcuffed. That he was going to jail. He had a warrant. So he going to tell them, you might as well handcuff her too. And they was like, what? And he was like, you might as well handcuff her too. And so they was like, what's your name? So I told him Michelle Johnson because Thurman just got me out of jail Friday. Mm-hmm. He just bonded me out of jail on Michelle Johnson. Okay, so I said my name is Michelle Johnson. I showed him the bond papers and stuff, and he said, yeah, she just got out of jail, but they ran not Michelle Johnson, Michelle Pierce. And when they ran it in, I was clean. But I knew I had a warrant in Michelle Johnson, so he gonna say, check Michelle Johnson. Check Michelle Johnson. So they was like, why do he keep saying that? I'm like, I don't know. And I kept trying to walk out the door with my kids so I can go. And then they was like, hold on, Johnson, you got a warrant. Turn around and cuff up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what Thurman had did was Thurman got up early that morning and went to the police and put his plan. Well, his plan was actually in motion that night, and he got up and executed his plan.
Okay. It's crazy because he asked me for my pubic hair. And I said, I ain't giving you my pubic hair. He was like, I'll give you $600. So I said, okay, here. And I pulled them, and I gave it to him. And he said that he was going to put it in the Bible to always remember me. Mm-hmm. But he sent it, I guess he sent it in my hair, my hair, and he sent it to Alonzo Washington. See, after he kept calling the police, and they thought that he was a drug addict or drunk, and they kept telling him what the reward money was. When the last one, when the FBI matched what Kansas City had, that's when he called Alonzo Washington and told him that he knew who Erica was. And that's how that happened.
Okay, now, did he give you the $600 or he was pulling your coattail?
Oh, no, I got it.
Okay, wow. So you got $600 and okay, you was going to use that $600 to get out of there with it.
To get out, yes. Okay. And he knew because that night I never fought Harrell, and that night I fought him back. You know what I'm saying? When he was fighting me, and it was, and then I had kicked him in his nuts, and his grandpa was like, "By the time you stick up for yourself," and I said, "I'm done. I'm done with this family. I'm done. I'm finna go," and so that's why.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
And I'm just being honest. I believe that if I never told them his grandpa that I was leaving that family, I don't believe that he would have never told on me. I don't believe that he would turn me in.
I don't think so either. I think it would have died with him, and it would have,
because he was too. He liked the entertainment. Like, I'll get his car, I'll go pick up another dude. You know what I'm saying? He'd be out in my parking lot, like at 6:00 in the morning, honking, trying to get into my house, and then I'm like, "Baby, come in here, go home." And he was like, "I ain't got a problem if it's in the family, but I don't appreciate you messing around if it's out the family." Yeah, it was okay if it was his grandson, his son, and him. It was okay.
Wow.
It was okay. Mm-hmm.
Now let me ask you this: do you look at Thurman Mcintosh as a hero or opportunist?
I look at him as accessory. I hate to say it. I looked at his whole, and God forgive me, his family after I told his mom and Thurman what happened, and they didn't help me, and they kept the secret for so long. I felt like, who could I trust? You know what I'm saying? Who really could help me? You know, and so it's just to the point that I was sick, that I'm like, okay, so now I'm gonna get what I can from them, because hell, they don't mean me no good. So fuck them.
Exactly. Now let's talk about, you say that Harrell went to prison for a short period of time. What did he go to prison for?
Harrell went to prison for drugs. He went to Booker State. He was on the run for shooting it. Okay, he was robbery. It was drugs. He was on the run for shooting a dude in the face. But the dude, by the time they caught Harrell, the dude himself was locked up in the feds for drugs. So they didn't even go with anything because he was already locked up too.
You met Harrell early on, as you said. You met Harrell through your first kid's father.
I met Harrell. The first time I met Harrell, it was in '93, because I didn't know. Yeah, no, it was '94, because I was pregnant with my son, and my son was born in '95.
You have 1 minute left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call right back. And my son was born in '95, and I was pregnant with my son. And Harrell, I was asleep in the back room, and Harrell came in my room, and he woke me up, and I said, "What the fuck is you doing in here?" And at that time, he knew that I didn't know what was going on. So he went out there to Larry, to Erica's dad, and said, "Hey, man, give my dope," because he gave him crack. And he said, "Give me my dope." And I guess he already smoked it. So he came in there, and Larry did, and he beat me and told me that I better fuck him, or he was going to beat my ass when he left. So when he came in, that's what we did. That's the first time I met him. It was a trick.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's deep. So the trick fell in love.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I didn't meet Pete again until '99. I met him again in '99. I was with Larry. I got with Larry when I was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I left Larry when I was 20, 21. And so I got with Larry's brother, named Jay. I got with Larry's brother named Jay. And Jay was totally different. He showed me, like, Larry prostituted me. He beat me. He, made me, like, degrade me. He made me feel like, like nobody wanted me. Like, he was my savior. Okay, so when I went to prison in Oklahoma because I had Erica in Oklahoma. And we'll get to that. That's how I met Betty.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. So when I had Erica when I was in prison. And I did 8 months in prison. And so when I got out, I started messing with Jonathan when I got out of prison. But Jonathan went to jail. And when Jonathan went to jail, I had moved in with a friend's grandmother. She gave me an apartment. And Harrell used to stay down in a block. It was like the hood. Mm-hmm. And he used to, be down there with a lot of homeboys. And so he seen me going to my house, and he was like, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "No." And then when he told me how he remembered me, then I told him that I remembered him. I don't think that he really wanted to be with me, but me, the person I was, is that I call myself buying men. You know what I'm saying? I gave him all kind of money. When I get paid, I'll give him my check. When he went to jail, I bailed him out. If he tell me stay in the house and don't open the door, that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? So I was like very submissive. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when I got with him. Was 99. When we became a couple was 1999.
Okay. Now you went to jail, and you had Erica in jail. What were you in jail?
Prison.
In prison. Okay, in prison. What were you in prison for, and how did you go?
I was in prison for stealing. How did I go? I didn't want to go stealing, and Larry was beating me. So I had my son, and he went and boiled some hot water, and he threw the hot water on me, but I had moved my son in time where it didn't get on him. And so I got up and went in there and begged his mom, would she please give him the car so I can go steal for him? And she wouldn't. So then I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna be beat all night. So I went upstairs to a friend, and they drove us because he was gonna give them money. And so I had already been caught in the store stealing, and so I was just tired. I mean, it's to the point that, we're just being honest. I was thinking of ways how to kill Larry and get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Because he mentally, I didn't know what to eat, what to sleep, what to say, what to look. None of that. You know.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I opened my purse and I showed the security guard that I was stealing, and he told me I was going to jail, and I knew that I had already sold in that store, and yeah, I went to prison.
Okay, so basically you let the security guard knew that you were stealing so they could lock you up. Now, okay,
yes.
You're in prison. How many months are you with Erica?
No, I wasn't no months with my baby.
Okay.
I had Erica. I had Erica May 15th.
Right.
And Oklahoma OSU. I wasn't shackled or anything. They took me in. You only get 24 hours. 24 hours with your child, and then they take you. They take the baby from you, and they're supposed to go to DFS. But now here we go. I met Betty Brown through a mutual friend because I used to sell and steal meat. I would go in the store and steal them $30 T-bone steaks or the big package, and so I'll go to different towns, and I will steal at Walmart, any kind of grocery store. I go in and I steal bacon, the big family bacon that's like $10, and it's half price. So she was a customer of mine. I sold her meat, so she was a customer of mine, and I was pregnant with Erica, and she had a daughter, and she had asked me that her daughter couldn't have kids, and she wanted a girl, and I had already had 4, and she was like, "I'll pay you to make Erica, like, pay me for a baby." And I said, "No, I can't give you my baby, but will you take care of her? Take care of her. If anything ever happened to me." And she said, "Yeah." So when I was in prison, I called her, and she came and got her.
Okay. Now I was looking at some papers where where Larry's lawsuit comes in because he said that they gave Erica to Betty Brown with just her ID and a Walmart card or a Sam's Club card, right? For as identification, and didn't do a background check on her or anything. So, he didn't say anything bad about her, but he was saying that he wished that they would have put his daughter in the system. But we're going to set him to the side and be done with him.
Oh, yes, please, because I can't wait. I can't wait, yeah.
Okay, and we'll let you, if you want to elaborate a little bit more, but right now we on Miss Betty Brown. And,
yes.
Okay, so when Betty took her, and
Yes, and I have nothing to say bad about Miss Betty, you know what I'm saying, because she loved Erica. If I, like didn't have places to live or anything because my son, when I went to prison, okay, let me back up. My oldest three stayed in Illinois. So my oldest three by Larry are born and raised in Illinois.
Right.
Okay, so my daughter, my second daughter, she has a mark on her face, and I have one on my arm when he bust my head with the ashtray. Okay, so the DFS got involved because he came and tried to attack me at the hospital. So the DHS got involved, and they took my daughter. And when they took Kaya, I was pregnant with Alicia. So when they took Kaya, they gave him to my family. And my family took him, my mom and my dad. And they told me that I could have my children back as long as I leave Larry alone. I couldn't have no dealings with Larry. And that's, not normal love is not loving me. I choose him.
Okay.
I chose him. But I was still allowed him, my family was always, they never, ever, ever closed the door on me. I can always come home. Always. And so I would come.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I would come to Illinois and stay a couple months and then go back to Oklahoma. So them three I had in Illinois and the other five are from Oklahoma.
Okay.
I left Chicago when I was 18.
Okay.
With Larry, and then I stayed in Oklahoma with no family or anything. So then I had my son, Larry. I had Larry Jr. and he got into the system, and they put him in foster care. And after I went to jail, I left him with his dad and his grandma, but they act like they couldn't take care of him.
To your knowledge, is Miss Betty Brown, is she still living or she's passed on?
She's passed on too.
Okay, wow. Okay. Now, do you still be in touch with any of Miss Betty Brown's family or any of Harrell's family members still?
No. No.
Okay.
My daughter, because the kids I have with Harrell got adopted. And it's outside of the family because his family didn't want him, I guess because, they didn't take him. So they got adopted. And my kids reached out to me, but they did it through their sister. Nikki, she is the one that, fought to, see him and for them to know that they got more sisters and brothers. She's, made it a point for them to know about them.
Okay.
And that's how they met. She talked to the lady and was like, I'm her sister. And she told them, and then they met, and they're a part of each other's life.
Okay, great. Now, do any of your children, when you conversate with them, do any of them remember Erica, or do any of them still talk about her, or they don't remember?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. They remember her. Absolutely. My son got Erica Michelle Marie tatted on his front of his chest. Yeah, all of them. They're whenever they have a verge, whenever they have anything in Kansas City, my son goes and he speaks.
Did you want to elaborate any on the lawsuit that Larry filed, or you want to just be done?
I'm just so disgusted. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I have 5 kids by him, and he has not taken care of not one of them. Not one. They don't call him daddy. Alicia was 6 months old when I left her with my mother. Mm-hmm. So she was a baby, so she don't even know him. And Kaya, she don't have no dealings because when she look on her face, she has to remember that came. You know what I'm saying? So she don't even say dad. She say your baby daddy or Jasmine dad, or she don't even claim him. But it's just sad that that's the way that you can get money. And the saddest part is that you didn't even do the right thing about it. You gave it to the dope man. You didn't even honor your daughter. You never honored her.
that was an opportunist. I look at him as that he saw something that was, and he took it and he ran.
Yes, and I believe that a lawyer got in contact with him so they can make money, and that's how he got it, because he wouldn't have known that if somebody didn't inform him, or you know how lawyers call you and they, well, I can get a lawsuit, and I believe that's what happened.
I believe that too. And they basically, a lot of people made money off of Erica. A lot
Yes.
of people, and they're not,
Yes.
and they're gonna lie and say they didn't. But people,
They do, and that's why I'm so, Terrell, I'm so angry, and that's why people say, well, how can you be angry at the police? I can be angry because the difference between me and them, I accept my responsibility. I know I didn't do right. I know I failed my daughter. But I feel like they should say in a minute they failed her too. You know what I'm saying? You failed her. You did. And then so you want to put all this blame and make me look like a monster when it's honest. In honesty, you failed. It had to be other people.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
That didn't even know my baby to help you do your job. And then you want to give all these people this money and let's make a statue or let's do a park, but not once have they ever considered about her sisters or brothers that's still alive, what they going through, what they feel. Let's reach out to them. Let's help them cope. No. It's all about donate something and give it to us for Precious Doe.
now, have anybody from the Precious Doe community wrote you a letter, reached out to you, or anything?
Nah. They hate me. When I was at
You have 1 minute left.
When I was at getting sentenced, and I apologized to the courts, I mean sincerely, and it wasn't for them, and it wasn't for Precious, it's for my baby. And I know that Daisy forgave me, but they told me I was sorry excuse of a mother, or they hope I never had no kids, and I mean they just belittled me.
The Precious Doe community, and these,
Yes,
and these,
never.
and these supposed to be people of God. So how could you judge and
Yes.
and not forgive someone?
Yes.
Wow. I want to touch down a little bit on Betty Brown, a little bit more on Betty Brown, because I feel that Betty Brown, she didn't, from my knowledge, she didn't bash you or anything, and she was very caring of
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
And
yes.
she loved her, and I saw at
Yes, she did.
I saw at
Like
the funeral.
her own, and that's why I can't say anything bad about her, because I'm telling you, I didn't have nobody to come and get Erica at the hospital. That's why I'm so angry about Larry getting all this money, because he didn't even come and get Erica. He never raised any of our children. And Erica, I would go pick up Erica, and I would take her around her brother Larry. But his mom, Betty, his mom, and him, they didn't claim Erica. They said Erica was not his, and he never watched her, never changed a diaper, never anything. Now, who Erica thought was her daddy was Jay. That's who she thought that was her father, because he took care of her from 6 months until 3 years old.
Okay. Now, when you got locked up, did Miss Betty Brown, in any shape, form, or fashion, try to reach out to you, try to talk to you, or communicate?
Yes, I called her every doctor appointment. She'll accept my call. I mean, she couldn't do a lot because she had a lot of foster kids and that she was taking care of. And she was a very awesome foster care mom. And so she kept in touch with me. She'll send me like $5 or $10 when she could. She even brought Erica up to see me when I got to Eddie Warriors in Oklahoma. And she brought her to see me. And when I got out of prison, she's the one who picked me up.
Okay.
So yes, she was a very that's where my guilt comes from, because she treated Erica like Erica was hers, and I hurt her. And when Erica was gone, she used to. I remember she came to the house one day, and she beeped her horn, and I went outside, and Harrell followed me, and she was asked about Erica, and she said Erica came to her to a dream, and she said, "Can I just talk to her?" And I told her that she couldn't, but Erica was already gone at that time.
Wow. So this last time, like when everything came out and you went to jail for, helping Harrell with the dispose of Erica's body, that's what they charged you for, because you wasn't there, you didn't see him do anything. Did
No.
she communicate with you during this time?
Yes, she did. I apologized to her in the the courtroom because I testified at his Harrell trial, and when his attorney was making it seem like it was an accident, and I said that I felt like it would have been an accident if he would have just took her down there, but to have cut off her head, that was something more deep. You know what I'm saying? That had, like I asked him why did he feel the need to do that, but he will never answer that question for me. That's something I might never know. You know what I'm saying? Why? What was that? What did you get out of that?
Okay, now let me ask a couple questions. Okay, did Miss Betty Brown, did she forgive you in the courtroom? And was Harrell, did he have animosity towards Erica? Did he dislike her father or something? What was it? Did he, he had to have some animosity towards her?
I honestly, bad as I want to lie.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
I never seen that. You know what I'm saying? I never seen that. But Erica was never around, you know what I'm saying, around us that much. That's when she stayed with Betty. Like, I'll go get her overnight, but I'll take her back. You see what I'm saying? So she didn't actually live with us. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So during the time of her demise, she was living with Betty, not you guys.
No. I told him while we was in Kansas City, and I regret this. I mean, it's so crazy because I told him that I was missing Erica, and he was going to run, and he told me I can go back to Oklahoma and get her. And so I didn't want to tell Betty that this was, that I was taking Erica to Kansas City. So I just said, let me get Erica. So she, gave it to me because she gave it to me. And so before we went back on the bus to go back to Kansas City, I stopped by Jay place so he can see her before we left. And it's crazy because he asked me, could he take Erica? He was like, let me get Erica. He said, I will go to Dallas. I will raise her. I will do everything for her. And I was like, no, you crazy. No, give me her. And I just, remember the most happiest was when she was with him and she said her name. He say E, she'll say R. He'll say I, she'll say A. Then she'll 1, 2, 3, and they were doing that. And she said, I love you, Daddy, because that's who she thought was her dad was Jay. And so we went to Kansas City, and that was the last he seen of her.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any relationships with Jay now, or any communication?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Now let's. I had to revisit that night before this happened. What was Erica's mood? What was she crying? Was she fussy, or just things the babies do at 3 years old for him to?
She was just like quiet, like she wasn't talking. She was just standing there, like I she'll look at him and then look at me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, E, like, why you up? And she'll look at him and then she'll say, I don't know. And I said, go to bed. I said, go back and get in the bed. And that's when I went into the bathroom to take my bath. And then that's when I came back out. She was standing up again. And I don't understand why he said he did it, because when he said she was crying and stuff, no, she wasn't crying. She wasn't crying. So I don't. That's what I don't understand. Like, why did, when they asked him why did he do it, he said she didn't go to bed. She was crying. No, she wasn't crying. She was standing up talking to me. And then when I came in and she lay down and she put a little pink blanket over her and grabbed her little teddy bear, and I went to the bathtub, and then when I came back, she was standing up again. And he was like, like arguing with me, and I did say, you don't tell me what to do with this one, because this one is not yours. You could tell me what to do with Marquisha, because Marquisha was in her playpen.
So,
she was 6 months old. And so while I'm saying that, and I think maybe I made him mad when I said that, because that's when something was like, turn. And when I turned, his feet was connecting to her head. Like, I just read the autopsy report again, and it said numerous kicks, and they said that I lied. No, I didn't lie. That's what I seen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened when I was in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? But I know that what happened when I was there, it was only one kick, and then that's when she kind of slithered like a snake, and then that's when I picked her up and ran in. Like, you stupid motherfucker, what the fuck wrong with you? And that's when I ran in, tried to put her in the bathtub to wake her up.
during this time, how long would you say Erica was unconscious before she passed away?
Oh, Erica, I'm not a doctor,
Right.
but I'm her mother. And I feel like that kick, and when she hit the ground, I feel like that's when she was gone, because she was so hard. She was like hard, like no movement, no, I try to feed her. I try to
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
give her water to wake up, and it was nothing. And then that's when I had grabbed a hold of her so tight, and I was just begging God to please just let her get up, and he could take me. And then that's when I got up and got in the bed, and that's when he climbed down there, and that's when she took her last breath.
Was she in the bed with you when she took her last breath?
No, she was on the floor.
On the floor, and she took her last breath. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I said, I hate to make you relive that night, because I know it's so hard for you, being the mother and all, and my heart goes out to you. Now, I want to touch back down on the gentleman who found Erica's head, or led the police to her head. What's his name? Because I remember you were saying he said that Erica came to him.
Yes. Oh, Lord, what was his name? Because when I got arrested, he was going to a church, and he died too. Wow. And he had throat. I can't remember his name, but he had a twinkler in his throat. And him and the pastor of his church came to see me. But how I found out is that I watched the news, and Channel 4 came on, and he was on his way dropping his wife at work. And the night before, he said a little girl came to him and told him that she needed her help. And he dropped his he dropped his wife at work, and then he was lead to the site, and he crawled in the woods, and he found it, and then he Channel 4 News met him there, and everything like that. He recorded this happening, but the police they did arrest him and question him, because they wanted to know how did he know, and they claimed they searched that area.
Okay, so how did they end up letting him go? Because
after they questioned him, and I guess he had alibis, and I don't know. I can only assume, because he got out.
Okay. So Erica, that God works in mysterious ways because he sent Erica to this man
Yeah.
to bring her home, her whole body home in peace.
Yes.
And this is exactly what he help you guys do because you didn't know where the head was. And I'm quite
No.
sure that Harrell.
He did. Well, when he came back, when he first, and that's how I got charged with tampering with evidence and removal of a corpse. It's because I went back when he came back in, and he told me that he cut her head off. I said, "What?" And he said, I threw her here, and I threw the head in the trash can in the church parking lot. And I used to go to that church. And even after it happened, I went in the church and sat in the back and prayed. And so I said, no, we got to go get it. We got to go get it because the church.
You have 1 minute left.
The church has. I'll call right back too. The church has trash, and we got to go get it. Church had the trash runs tomorrow, and they'll smell it. And so we went back up to the window, and he jumped in the trash. He jumped in and he got it, and he walked down the street a little bit, and then he threw it in the woods.
Wow.
It was in the trash bag. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the head in the trash bag?
No.
Okay. But you were in the air. Were you there when he retrieved the trash bag?
Yes.
Okay. And how did that make you feel?
Honestly, in a sick way, I knew in my heart that if that trash would have got picked up, that it would have went to the dump. And my baby wasn't from here. I don't believe that they would have.
Thank you for using.
Okay, now you were saying, okay, we're gonna pick back up what you said that she was when he went to retrieve the head. It was in the bag. You didn't see the head, but you knew, and what came just the feeling that came over your body was what now?
What came over my body was I was so scared, and I couldn't physically call the police. So I was just hoping and praying that somehow, some way they would come to me. That's why every day, every night, I went to the same spot and I sat and I talked to her and I called her name. And when they kept saying Precious Doe, I kept saying her name is Erica. And I just wanted the police to see me and wonder, who is this lady that keep coming down here and sitting every day? And they didn't. You know what I'm saying? They didn't. They didn't do that. And then it went from months, and then I just couldn't stay in that state no more. I couldn't.
So.
And then that's when we went back to Oklahoma. And then that's when I told Deborah and Thurman that he killed her.
So now, when you say you were going to sit in this same spot every night, and they were saying Precious Doe, and you were saying her name is Erica. Where is this? Mm-hmm. Where was this place? Was it at one of the vigil sites, or?
It was the vigil. They had a vigil, and they had it at the church. It was right across the street from the area where she was found, where her body was found first.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
And across the street is where they put a little vigil where they had bears, and I brought her bear, and I set her bear out there, and I talked to her, and they even put a camera. So I know they seen me because when I got arrested, it was on Channel 4 News that they seen that I came every day.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they seen me there. But why didn't you put the picture on TV like you do the people that go to the bank and steal? And I say, who is this lady? Why? You know, and that's the questions that I have. And I thought that I was forgave, but I guess it's a working process because them is the questions I ask, like,
why they didn't do more for her.
Basically, what I get out of it, and like I said, because I was once where you are now. What it was is Harrell, he kept you close by with him so you wouldn't go call the police, because if you would have called the police and
I would
told them,
probably dead.
you wouldn't be in jail now. No, you probably wouldn't be in jail for the time that you have if you would have came to them first and let them
Yes.
know what was going on. So
Yes.
Thurman, the opportunist, he got your pubic hair, gave you $600 because he knew that he was going to get what, 33? Was it 33 or $38,000? So that
I think it was 38. So he got it, and his cousin, Harrell cousin, he was passing money out, and his name was Pookie, and he told them, I don't want not none of that money. That's blood money. And anybody that spend that money gonna have bad luck. And I swear his words came back to bite him, because everybody in his family that spent that money due to my baby has died.
wow. So now who said that they didn't want none of the money because it was blood money?
Harrell's cousin.
Right. So everyone has passed that spent that money. Was
Yes.
Okay. So is Harrell mother? She's still living, or she's deceased as well?
She's on drugs.
Still.
See, the grandfather didn't give her too much because she was an addict. But he bought him a car. He tried to keep the reward money and still collect SSI. So he tried to give the reward money to his sister that worked the car newspaper. But she started spending it, and she passed away. Yeah.
So they took his SSI from because of the reward money, or he scammed and schemed, and still kept his SSI and the reward money. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: after you guys went to prison or got locked up for what happened to Erica, did Thurman try to reach out to you in jail? Did he try to put money on your books, or did he try to put anything?
Yes.
Okay. And
He did. He put.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
But yes, he put money on my books one time, and I sent it back because I didn't want nothing to do with him due to the fact that how you got this money, you knew that I was leaving your family. Now I can see if you did it the first time you called, but you waited 4 years and called every year to see how much the reward money is. And the police thought he was a drug addict and an alcoholic, so they didn't take it seriously. And that's why Thurman went through Alonzo Washington. And he got the evidence and then took it to the police. And then that's how it came back. Because Alonzo Washington had to stand up and do what the police wouldn't do for the grandpa to get the money.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Have anybody reached out to you since you've been in prison? Have anybody reached out to you to sympathize for you or try to support you?
No. I had a lot of hate mail. I have a lot of people who judge me in here. I always have to watch my back. A lot of people say that, that's Precious Doe mother. But I do reach out. I do tell my testimony all the time. And I try to mentor to the girls that come, the little young girls in the one case similar to mine. And they just, amazed at how I got peace. And it's all God. It's God. I'm angry, but I forgive because I have to forgive in order for me to be forgiven. And that's how I can have peace. And no, I don't get financial help like
This
I
call
said.
is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
If it wasn't for, like, my sister, she sends me money, like, once a month. My kids send me money when they can, but they have children. And my fiance, she sends it when she can because she just got out herself.
Well, like I said, that's why I reached out to you, and that's why myself and the Real World Podcast family, we donated a little something to you, and we
Yes.
still gonna donate a little bit more to you. So you're that comes from the whole RWP family. So,
Yes.
and because we appreciate you, you sat down and you gave us the very first exclusive interview ever.
Yes.
And a lot of people have been trying. I'm quite sure a lot of people have been trying to get you to break your silence.
Yes.
And
And they offer money, and they offer this, but I'm going to tell you, Terrell, I thank God. I thank God for you because you came in, and I could just feel your peace and your realness, and that gave me comfort. I mean, I prayed. I got the Holy Spirit when it came to this. Like, this is what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? I will forever, ever. There's not a day by that I don't think about my child. I have birthday parties every May 15th. Every year since I've been in prison, I throw Erica a birthday party. You know what I'm saying? I still talk about her like she's here. They say how many kids I have 8. You know what I'm saying? Because she's still a part of me. And she will always, always be remembered. Always. And I have to live with not protecting her, but like a mother should by any means necessary. But when you're in a situation and you're scared and you're being abused and you're trying to get help and you're trying to go to people to help you and they turn their backs and they don't help, then you just feel like who else can you go to? Who can you go to? And that's why when the detectives got me and I said, about time, why did it take you so long? And ever since I feel safe, I've been nothing but told the truth. Because this is not about anybody else. It's about my baby having peace. And that's all that matters to me. And helping the other Michelles and Ericas out there.
amen to that. Amen to that. And I want to ask you, in prison, when you first arrived in prison, because I know the prison code that you don't any person to come in for messing with old people, children, or women in the men's side of the prison, you're gonna get tested, and you're gonna probably get your manhood took, and you're gonna get killed.
That's weird.
Get killed.
I got a one fight. They called me a baby killer, and they swung on me. And I ain't trying to brag or anything, but that was the last fight I ever got into. When they test you and they see ain't no punk in you. And I haven't been in no fight since. But I was angry. And like if somebody looked at me and said Precious Doe, I was ready to fight because I had so much anger. But once I sat down and accept my part, and I tell people all the time, I didn't kill my daughter, but I didn't protect her either. That's what I did. That's my responsibility. Because if I would have went to the hospital and took her right away, she might be still alive today. That's what I have to live. That's where I have to live every day. That's where my guilt comes from. It's not protecting her. But I didn't kill my daughter.
Well, let's just say this. When you get out, because your time is coming, and it's almost here.
Yes.
How would you and your children honor Erica for the rest of your life?
When I get out and I get my time, I'm moving Erica. Because the people, it's all about money, and I'm gonna move Erica, and I'm gonna move her to Chicago next to my father, and we're gonna visit her, and we're gonna put flowers on her grave, and I'm gonna be an advocate, and I'm gonna go talk to kids, teenagers, and adults, and I'm gonna tell my story and my testimony, and I'm gonna have my
This call
book.
is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
And I'm going to try to I say one person, one Erica, one Michelle, and then this time has not been in vain.
Now, you said when you get out, you're going to move her to Chicago. Do you think the people of the Precious Doe community will try to fight you to keep her there?
Yes, I do, but I've served my time, and as they know, that's my daughter.
Michelle, you've been wonderful. This interview that you gave me, I'm happy. You sound like you got a lot off your chest. You sound at
did.
peace, at ease, and
Yes.
I want you and I to keep communicating. I don't want this to end just because we wrapped up the interview.
No, absolutely not.
Right. I want you to still communicate with me, reach out to me and call me, and like you do. And we
Yes.
can we can put other things into work. Talk about other things.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
You family now.
hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
I'm not gonna judge. That's not my job to judge. And no one else's job to judge. There's only one judge and there's only one jury, and it ain't here. It's the man upstairs. You got
Amen.
that fake judge and that fake jury that sentence you. They're nobody. This is about that man upstairs. That's all that count.
Yes.
So everybody here, they can judge you all they want, but when there's one finger pointing at you,
You have 1 minute left.
there's 10 when you point one finger at someone, there's 10 fingers pointing back at you.
Yes.
You know,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for reaching out to me.
hey, that's it was just on my heart to reach out to you. And I wanted, like I said, I want to thank Terry Blair, because Terry
Yes.
Blair is the gentleman that's in prison that told me I should reach out to you. Because
Yes.
if I want the truth, stay away from Harrell and deal directly with you, because you're going to give the truth, because you never lied from day one. You always told the truth about what happened and how it happened, and you didn't bite your tongue on it.
Yes.
So without,
And that's how you have peace.
amen
That's
to
how
that.
you have peace.
Okay, you and Harrell, you guys got married. Were you guys married when you both got arrested, or you got married while in prison?
No. Me and Harrell were married at the time of the expedite, or the time that they came and got us from Oklahoma. We were married.
Okay. Now, when you guys got married, whose idea was it to get married? Was it his? Was it yours? What was it?
It was Harrell's, because I didn't want to get married. I always said that when I get married, it's going to be forever. And so I never wanted no divorce behind my name. And yeah, he forced me to marry him. He was on some charges for in Oklahoma for shooting the individual in the face. And so he called me and said that I guess he heard up there that if you get married, you get lesser time. But later on in my stay at Jackson County Jail, did I learn the truth that he married me so that if we ever were to get caught, that I wouldn't, by law, have to testify against him.
Okay, so basically Harrell had all this planned out and what he wanted to do and how he was going to do things, because he was trying to think ahead of the law. That's what he was trying to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Even when we got arrested, and I mean the truth was out, he wrote me threatening letters. He wrote me letters telling me to change my story and say that some dude named Mike came and got Erica and took her, and he paid her $30, and I gave that letter to my attorney, who gave it to the prosecutor, who then Kansas City Star print that article, out about how he tried to coerce me into telling a whole different story.
Okay.
And he kept stating that we're married, they cannot make us testify against each other. We're married, they don't have no evidence. They can't charge us with nothing. They're trying to turn us against each other. Don't believe anything that they say, because they're lying, and they just don't want to see us together and all this crazy stuff. And to be honest, I was believing in it. I mean, this is all I knew. So it took my lawyer to show me, because if he told me that the sky was purple, to me the sky was purple. And my lawyer is the one who told me that Harrell was against me. And it took him to show me his interview, where I can see where the detective is trying to throw a loop or say say Erica's name, and he'll say no, my name. So he was always telling me to change my story, to say this, to and
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
when my lawyers told me that video, that's when I was like, this, what I'm saying? Nothing that he say to me anymore. Like, hey, now you got your protection. Now you say, and let's lay Erica to rest. And that's what I did within. I feel like the time that I'm doing is it's worth it because that was my child and I didn't protect her. But I was never, ever going to not tell the truth what happened. So once I knew that I was safe from day one, I mean, you can go back and my story is never, it will not never change.
Now here's something else I wanted to ask you. Right now, I remember when you were saying that the Army guy, you was talking about the story where he went on the news. He called the news and everything was live. The gentleman that found Erica's head, they said Erica came to him and said she needed his help and told her where the head was, and he found it and it was on the news. What was Harrell's reaction? Did he see that on the news with you, or?
I didn't even see it yet because I was working at Price Cutters.
Okay.
He called me at work and told me they found it. And I said, thank God. He said, what'd you just say? And I said, no, I was talking to a customer, but I wasn't talking to a customer. I was relieved that they found it because now they will know who she is. Mm-hmm. So he told me to leave work and get to the house now. So when I got there, that's when it was still going on with the news crew, and the man was still there. And I walked down there and I was observing what was going on and him being questioned by the police and handcuffed and all this.
While this was going on, at any time did you want to say he's not the guy, or what was? Okay.
Yes, I did. I did. I even called the police station and said he's not the one. He's not what you're looking for, and I hung up.
Right. Okay. Now, I understand through all this, there was a bright light at the end of the tunnel for you. You met a young lady, and she's your fiance.
Yeah.
How did you meet your fiance, and tell me about that?
She's amazing. She is so amazing. And here when I first got locked up, I was in a lot of I've been locked up 17 years, so I've probably been in like three relationships, and I find myself going through the same thing with the three. Like I was allowing them to belittle me, throw my case in my face, call me baby killer. I mean, just kind of like what Harrell was doing, because Harrell didn't abuse me as much as he physically and mentally, abused me. Like I would rather to have been beat than to say the things that he said to me or do to me. And so that's what the three other relationships I was in, that's what they would do. And I met her and I seen her, and she just was like, everybody's not against you. Keep your head up, ask God for forgiveness, forgive yourself, and quit beating yourself over because you can't change the past. As much as you want to, you can't. And that I can make sure that what happened in the past didn't happen in the future. So it finally felt good to finally meet somebody who genuinely cared about me, like really, understood what I was going through.
Wow. So, yes. Okay.
No judgmental, no throwing up my case. I mean, she'll get into it with other women, that say something about my case, and then she was like, "You don't know her. You don't know what she went through. You don't know her shoes. You ain't walked in her shoes. So who are you to judge?"
Okay. Well, we're gonna save that because your fiance is going to take part in an upcoming interview along with your children. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, now that's going to be amazing, and I want the audience to realize and understand that your family is still supporting you. They're with you. They done
Absolutely.
forgave you, and everything is everything. The love still there is
This
unconditional,
call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
and that's all that matters. Anybody else doesn't matter. Now,
Absolutely.
it's one thing I have to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Another podcaster reached out to you and tried to, blackmail you or just, okay, to if you don't do the story, Harrell would do the story. Could
Yes,
you
sir.
could you tell us about that podcaster?
Yes. Yes, I can. His name was Andrew Dodge. And he called me, and it was weird because he just popped up in my email. So I called him, and he was like, I feel like you was done injustice, and I like to get your story out there. And in my spirit, I didn't feel like he was right. It was just something about his spirit, and so he offered money and said, "Well, we'll pay you this much, and then my audience will see it, and then you'll get money." It's just something about him. So my friend in here, who was on a TV show, and I was going through her because we have tablets in here, and I was going through her tablets, and I seen his name, and I said, he came to you too?" And she was like, "Yeah, something's wrong with him. He's weird." And so when I called him, and he was like, "So are you ready to do the podcast?" I said, "I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable yet. I have to continue to pray." And then he says, "Well, it's okay if you don't."
You have 1 minute left.
He said, "It's okay if you don't because Harrell said he would." And I said, "Well, go to Harrell then and have a nice day, and don't ever get in contact with me again because you're not going to threaten me with him. And he already then took something precious from me. So here you go threatening me with the person who took my daughter, and then going to tell me, well, I'm going to get it one way or the other."
Wow, that's messed up on his behalf.
Yeah.
And well, you dealing with the real over here, so you ain't even got to worry about that.
So with that being said, that's why when you contact me, and I like the way that you word, first of all, how you word your introduction with me, and then when I call, you made me feel like I was and loved, and everybody wanted against me, and all I ever wanted was for somebody to oppress me, not oppress me, but be genuine, not twist my words, not make me like a monster, and I wanted somebody to allow me to tell the truth. Allow me to tell you what the police don't know, what the police did, what they didn't do. And with him, it was more about, I just need this story no matter who tells me, and it was about his ratings. I only got so many people, and that this story would have made it be so powerful that he would have had more. And to me, it wasn't about helping any other Michelles and Ericas. It was more about, once again, making money off of my daughter.
Right.
I'm just going to keep it real. It was just about, to me, like he's another one of those ones that it wasn't about helping somebody. It was about what he could get out of this story. How would it benefit him?
Okay. And that's wrong because people like that give other podcasters bad names. And this is why, like,
Yes.
when I reach out to the inmates, how I came to you, I just introduced myself.
Real.
Mm-hmm.
You was, and I'm not just trying to say this because you doing this. You made me feel comfortable. You made me feel like no one is more, less, or better than me. We're all sinners. And when I say that I prayed and went to sleep that night, and I felt the Holy Spirit over me, telling me that you're the one, all I can do is just start thanking him. And ever since then, I've called you and let's do this. Let's get this. And from day one, you've been on it. You've been on it. And I just thank God that he put you in my path for this to be told. and told right.
But most definitely, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And like I said, I'm not here to profit off of this. I just want your truth to be told. I want your side of the truth to be told. Because like I told you, before I spoke to you, I did speak to Harrell. And
Yes.
it's amazing that everything that you just said he was doing, I believe it
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
because he was doing it with me, was trying to make it seem like everything was your fault.
Yes.
You and him wasn't together any longer. You had left him and was with another dude. And the other dude, whoever the dude was you were with, he's the one that did it. Trying to make it seem like he's being set up.
And to me, that's sad, and that's what hurts me, and that's what angers me. And then I have to go pray because I know that I have to forgive him, not for him, for me, because that takes the power away from him. But it's sad to me that you can go to sleep at night knowing that you did this to my baby, and you still cannot admit the part that you did. He will never have peace until he do, ever. And it's sad. It's sad. And he doesn't know what God can do for him once he admits and takes the responsibility of what he did.
Well,
and until then, he's going to be miserable.
Well, he's not ready for that. And he's not going to do it anytime soon. I think he's going to go to his grave telling those lies. And,
yes.
And that's sad.
And it's probably sad because he probably believe him. And then that's how you know, and I'm sorry to say it, he's a, what do you call it, pathological. Something wrong with him up here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's a pathological liar. That's what you're looking for.
Exactly. Something is wrong with him that you can sit there and have a baby's picture in your room and you're okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Something is wrong with you when you stand in front of the judge and you know that you decapitated my baby, and then you say, I haven't hurt a hair on her head. That's sick to me. That's sick.
Wow.
And then you're okay with it. You can go back and it's sick. But see, me, I have to let go and let God, because you're going to have to answer to God. You're going to have to answer to him.
Now let me ask you this. When you say he had pictures of your child, Erica Green, on his wall early, I remember you was telling me about this, pictures of her on the wall.
In the county jail. Mm-hmm. See, I guess it was in the... like a transcript. When you get arrested, you get a transcript. It's all the evidence. Mm-hmm. And so when I got called by my attorney called me. Okay, goosebumps. My attorney called me, and he had these pictures turned over, and there was like 8 of them. And before he can even turn one over, what's them? And he said, "This is the pictures of your daughter that's going to be decapitated." I said, "You got me fucked up. Pick them up.
Take your time.
Pick them pictures up and go on and take them with you, because for me, I've never, ever, God is my witness, seen any pictures of my daughter decapitated, because I don't know if I could live with that image in my head. I can't. So my image is how she was born, how the last I seen her, and that's it. I've never seen those pictures. I didn't even take them. You take them, you throw them away. I don't need them in my discovery. I don't want to see them. I don't want to nothing. I never seen those pictures. And for him to take them and put them up in a cell, like it's sick to me. It's just sick. Like it's a trophy or a reminder, or it's sick to me.
Now, how did you find out that he had these pictures of Erica's decapitated body hanging up in his cell?
The officers came to me and told me in the county jail that he's sick, that he's sick, and that he's crazy because he got the pictures of it up in his cell. I mean, I'm human. And I'm gonna make mistakes, but when it comes to Harrell, I wish that I was strong like I am now. I wish that I knew what true love was. I wish I knew then how to love me like I do now. Because if
This
this
call is from a
happened,
correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
if this happened the way I am now, ain't no doubt I would have got my baby help right then. I would have. It wouldn't have went this far. Without no doubt, I wouldn't be here where I'm at right now.
Well, like you say, you're here now to help the other Ericas and Michelles of the world,
Yes,
so that
yes.
doesn't happen again.
Exactly. And that's why I can sleep at night. I'm like in here I have inmates that, respect me. And it makes me so happy when people be put in my room and they get to know me and they say, "You're not who them people say you is. I'm so sorry for judging you." That touches me because that's what God wants me to do. God wants me to mentor the people, to let people, I tell my story to them. I open up and they cry and they just tell me changed my life. And, because men's and drugs, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's real crazy how a male have that much mind control and power over a woman.
Exactly.
And it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you a question. All the time that you've been there, have Erica ever came to you in a dream to let you know she was okay?
Yes. That's when I learned to forgive myself. And she came to me in a dream, and she told me that she forgave me and that she loved me, and to make sure what happened to her don't happen to anyone else. And I promised her that.
Wow.
And that's why I wrote my book, and that's my life story. And it in my book, I'm almost finished with it. It talks about from my childhood to my teenagers to Larry, to all of them, all the way to what happened to her. And that's why I want this book to be so powerful, and I want it to help any woman that's went through, going through, or been through, just to know with God, and you can get out. You're strong enough. You can get out.
Amen. Amen to that. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, once I edit up, I'm finna be busy all night and tomorrow editing this thing up, getting it together so I can get it out here for your family and for the people to hear your truth. It's time now. It's time for the world to hear from you because no one has ever heard from you. And this is going to be the very first time someone has ever heard from you.
Yes.
And that's good because your story, your truth. I don't like to say story because stories are lies.
True.
Your truth.
And I also want to say thank you. You're the first person. This is how I know you're different. You're the first person because I had my sister look up your broadcast to let her see. And she informed me that you didn't even inform me this. She did. That you have a picture of my daughter. But you say Erica Green, not Precious Soul. See, everybody call her that. But she has a name. And you made sure that her name was first before this Precious Soul.
Yes, I
and
did.
that means a lot to me because that's what I was trying to do, to let people know who she was. And without even telling you, you did it the right way. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, it's all good because the simple fact of it all is, like you said, she has a name. And her name isn't Precious Doe. Her name is Erica Green. So Precious Doe can go away because she's been identified as Erica Green. And that's what the rest of the world needs to know her as, Erica Green, not Precious Doe.
Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
Well, hey, like I told
that
you.
Makes me feel like I done my job because that is what I've been wanting to do. The 4 years is let the world know that this baby is not a dope. She has.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does have a name. And she's a beautiful young young lady too. And she's a young lady now because she would have been 24 this year. Am I correct?
Yes.
24.
Yes.
And but we're gonna always remember her as that beautiful little child. And when I look at her, she reminds me so much of my granddaughter, so much. And that's why I think I'm real close to this, and I want it to be done right, and I want justice to be done right for you in the public eye, so the public eye can really see that you're not who the media painted you to be, because the media, mainstream media, can be, just be honest, they can be dicks. If you're not gonna give them the story they want, they're going to make one up, and it's all about ratings and views.
I found out this statute of limitations. I wrote my lawyer to ask about it. I never respond for him, because I remember you telling the judge that it's okay, even though that the limitations ran out on the 2 Class Ds. So you got me here but you don't answer my calls. I called the intern, Sonny Wooten. Did they do me wrong? Did they give me some charges that by law I'm not supposed to have? She hasn't answered me back to tell me, I wrote and said, what's the statute of limitations for this and this and this, and did you do it afterwards? No answer. No answer. I've been trying to call lawyers, asking, can you look into this matter?
You have 1 minute left.
No. You can only talk for so long and then it hangs up. And so by the time you call so much, I don't know if they think you're playing or not. So it's been hard for me, but all my faith and trust is in God. And when it's time for me to leave, these doors will be open.
Amen to that.
Until then, I'm going to do his work and do what I promised my daughter.
Exactly. And then when you out here, you'll be able to do it.
I'm going to be an advocate. Yes, I'm going to continue. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love to hear that. And like I say, I'm here to help you and your fiance and the rest of the family much as I possibly can. So
thank you.
Let's just do what we need to do. Let's get this movement rolling, and this book. Get your book done, all the way done, and let's find you a publisher to sit down and talk to you. You know what I'm saying? And get this book published. Absolutely. Because it needs to be heard.
Thank you so much. And let's get this out there.
Thank you for using Securus.
Okay.
Goodbye.